welcome.
Aloha.
Welcome to the Yanagida Podcast, round 2.
Yes, sir.
Officially mayor now, and
Yes, sir.
it's been a crazy year, and I'm so grateful. And lots happened in the first year. Like, how's your first year been in office?
Well, it's been exciting.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on. Right now, obviously, we're dealing with the aftermath of the fires and
Mhm.
trying to deal with the issues of mental health and mental well-being for our community. Housing is very important, very timely. Dealing with debris removal issues. In fact, today, hearings are going on. And so, some important issues confronting us.
It's incredible because now it's been about 5 months now. This is December, and what's been one thing that you wanted to just kind of put out there in the last 5 months that maybe people don't know all the things that you guys are doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, there are lots of stuff that the county's done, the state, our federal partners, but I think mostly what I want people to know is that we are not going anywhere. That as a county, we are here to provide hope and healing to our people. There are specific things that have been done throughout the last 5 months that I'm sure there'll be a time to recap those and talk about the good works of the county, that the county, our workers have done, from those who worked the night of the fires. And I don't mean the firefighters and just the police, but people from Department of Public Works who helped open up, evacuation shelters, people from the Parks Department who helped open up evacuation shelters, people who from Office of the Mayor that went out and helped to send equipment and supplies to those evacuation centers, food, water. There was a lot going on, obviously, and a lot of directions that people were running in. But I think it would be important at some point to get that across, that the county was involved very early on, the next day, getting supplies out to the other side of the island. Not necessarily in all the locations that people were at, but for example, the Ritz-Carlton Kapalua was where we tried to set up our hub. Discovered that was a bit far away from people, especially with gas shortages, so tried to move that in closer to Lahaina. And then, but also sending our crew out there to deliver gas and take gasoline out to people that was being delivered. That was all the county workers, our people that were out there. Also putting together volunteers for, to put them on buses to get them out there. So, I mean, I'd probably do a better job if I was asked a specific question in time. But there's so much that was going on that was not talked about, it was not brought up. But since you asked me, there was a lot more going on. And I'm just so proud of our county workers. For example, our line of public works people were on the ground literally August 9th, August 10th. We're out in the impact zones to provide service and help, right? Trying to figure out what was operable, trying to clear places for people to be able to drive in and get through to do some work. There were lots of search and rescue folks on the ground, so they were part of trying to clear the way. But when they got tired and needed to be relieved, our public works people from Wailuku, from upcountry, and as far away as Hana came out to stay out in Lahaina.
Wow.
In some of those instances. I discovered this, as we were going through that. They weren't trying to look for any credit. They were just trying to help their fellow public works people who were devastated, obviously Lahaina folks. So they, lots of stories to tell about those folks. Again, the unseen, the ones that were working behind the scenes, trying to keep things going. And again, I hope at some point we will recap that for the sake of people who knew they were helping, but not for recognition. But I feel like at some point we should obviously recognize that.
Wow. And with 2024 actually just being a week and a half away, what are some of the plans for 2024?
Well, clearly, we're hoping sometime next week we can make an announcement. If not, it'll be in the first week of the year. A global interim housing plan
Okay.
with our partners, the federal government, the state, philanthropy, of course, the county. We got a few key players we need to notify and discuss what our roles will be, what our commitment will be. But I think this is what people want to know. What are the plans? Because we went from emergency shelters to evacuation shelters to hotels. One time we had about 8,000 people in 43 hotels, and now we're down to about 6,000, just over 6,000 in about 33 hotels. And so that sort of emergency sheltering, non-congregate sheltering, is what's held us up, and we're held our community up and have housing for them. Trying to next get to our interim housing piece, which of course we've signaled through Bill 131 as short-term rentals, non-owner occupied homes, timeshares. And the good news is people can go to helpingmaui.org. Helpingmaui.org is a website that just came online yesterday, put on by the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, the CNHA, which has been an absolute essential partner in all of this. But what that does is it allows a short-term rental person to click one of the boxes, or somebody looking for a rental, click the other box. It gives you, why are you on this site, and you can choose one, and then it walks you through the process. And I think that's just to make it really clear. There's also a running total board that shows how many people have signed up, how many, So we're getting more matches that way, thanks to CNHA, Matt Jahowski, who's playing a big role in that data, data information, passing it on. So we're trying to capture at some point all the different agencies that are helping: FEMA, the Red Cross, the state, the Department of Human Services. There's a lot of different groups that are coming at this because it takes multiple approaches. No one solution works for everybody. So trying to be mindful of that, working with partners. So many agencies that are trying to assist, and we just want to make sure we're not duplicating efforts. We're all going after the same inventory, right? People who are willing to rent out long term, people who own a short term unit that will convert to a long term unit. We're proposing that they get tax relief, so zero taxes if they offer to a displaced family. And then they get paid, reimbursed by FEMA at really fair rates. So trying to get that conversion is a big part of our push right now, because while one of the ways that people handle emergencies like these is, if we were on the mainland, they would drive a trailer home into a field and hook everybody up. That's really a logistical challenge for us here. But what we have that other places don't have is we had hotel rooms that we could put people up. Most places don't have the amount and the inventory we had. But we also have about 27,000 units of timeshare, short-term rentals, and non-owner occupied homes.
Wow.
So our buildings are here. Our places to stay are here. And we're only trying to house about 3,000 families. So 10-15% of that is what we're looking for. Just to help them out for maybe 18 months, 2 years, until we can get them back into their properties or rebuild their homes. So this is for Kula as well as for Lahaina. And so our plea, our ask is for those short-term rentals to convert to long-term, at least for a little bit, to help out our community and help those folks that lost everything.
Wow. And speaking of housing, so for the reconstruction of the Lahaina, that's not going to happen the first half of the year? Or people are curious?
As far as when you say reconstruction, what the process we're in now is called phase 2, which is debris cleanup. So, there are over 2,000 properties, right? And so before the Army Corps of Engineers and their contractors or subcontractors can come in, each property owner needs to sign a right of entry.
Ah,
That gives permission to the Army Corps to come in and clean their property up.
I see. I
If
see.
they don't give that permission, then we can't go on their land, or the government Corps can't go on their land. Now they have their other option, which is to clean it themselves, which they have to pay for. If we clean it, it's no charge to them. But if they clean it, they need to hire their own contractor. But they also need to dispose of that material according to the law. And I won't get into all the detail, but obviously there are strict standards that need to be followed when you are going to dispose of debris, hazardous material. And so we are in the process of trying to get those right of entries so that the Army Corps can go in and do the work. I'm pretty sure that will take longer than 6 months to clean all of those. Now, the good news is in Kula, they've cleared many of the properties. I want to say there's 24 or 26 homes. I should know that because there's a number that are there and there's a number that signed right of entries. So I think it's at least 24. And so the Corps has cleaned up many of those properties already, and people have put in their requests to rebuild their homes and stuff. So I think Lahaina will be, it's maybe 10% of the homes that Lahaina covers. So Lahaina is going to take 10 times longer, maybe, if you just apply that formula.
Makes sense.
So it'll take more than a few months.
Oh, what a first year, Mayor. First year, and
almost next week will be 1 year. Yeah,
that's right. Next year, next week will be 1 week.
Yeah.
1 week from now. I mean, it's just like, to me, just being a Wailuku boy, it's incredible just to kind of hear different perspectives and like all the behind the scenes, because like what you're saying, no one's really doing it for credit and recognition and stuff like that. So it's actually pretty exciting to see that there is so many stuff. I remember coming the second day, I think the 10th, 9th or 10th. And I just remember seeing like everybody just doing their own, doing their own part and just making things happen. And I was just like, wow, like, but nobody talks about that.
Yeah, people were starting to arrive. We had lots of help from our different counties.
Yeah.
Obviously, the governor and the lieutenant governor was the acting governor on that day, and governor cut his trip short from the East Coast, flew back to be on the ground. The senators, Senator Schatz, Senator Hirono, Congresswoman Tokuda, they've all come. Obviously, the President of the United States came, people from Congress, different congressional groups came over to see the devastation, and I guess to verify that we were in deep need and that they could justify FEMA and the EPA and some of the other federal agencies that came over, HUD, the Energy Secretary, those that came over could verify that, Maui is devastated, what's happened to them, and they could approve, the federal expenditures that we needed. So it was important, although it was uncomfortable to go back to Lahaina during the early days to see what had happened. But that was what helped convince others, whether they were state officials or federal officials, that we, in fact, qualified for the assistance we were requesting. And then we had lots of other cities and towns that went through similar, well, I shouldn't say similar, went through fires. Ours is considered one of the worst that have occurred, but they came with really good advice to avoid us reinventing the wheel. Saying, well, this is how you work with FEMA, this is how you work on this thing, this is what you need to look at. All our different departments and divisions all stepped up. We've formed an Office of Recovery, which obviously we are thanking the council for funding, so we can hire positions.
What is that?
So the Office of Recovery. So when someone goes through like something like this, FEMA recommends 6 areas that you focus on in your recovery. It's infrastructure, housing, community planning, health and wellness, natural and cultural resources, and economic recovery. So those 6 buckets, we're not reinventing this. This is the formula that FEMA recommends. So we, led by Josiah Nishita and Keanu Lauhi, both leaders in our administration, are heading up the Office of Recovery. And that Office of Recovery is focusing on those 6 areas. So we have 2 county personnel on each one of those, whether they're a director, a deputy director, or an executive assistant for me, 2 each assigned to each of those 6 buckets. I have a Lahaina advisory team made up of 6. Each of them are assigned to one of those buckets. So we get community input at least at that level. And it's not intended to replace a community meeting, but it's intended to give us quick, immediate feedback about the community's, their thoughts that are going on. The Hawaii Community Foundation, which is the organization that's been collecting the Maui Strong funds for us, and they've gone, over 150, 160 million dollars collected. Their organization, they're made up of about 70 or 80, the size of their organization, but they've dedicated many to our recovery. So they have a person assigned to each of those 6 buckets. And then we've hired consultants. In fact, we just did give out the contract earlier this week to a company called Tetra Tech that will be helping us deal with our federal partners, giving us obviously consulting on each of those 6 buckets, helping us with that. We have so lots of, we're trying to do partnering, and again, focus on, I would say our main focus should be on mental health and then housing, kind of simultaneous. And again, the housing piece, getting the logistics of getting it, preparing land or trying to rent rental places are, is happening simultaneous. And lots of meetings, lots of dealing with organizations, people, private, developers, contractors, people who have, good ideas that want to offer. Some want to just offer their expertise. Some want to offer their labor. They'll help build an accessory dwelling unit. Lots of folks who want to donate, and then those that want to contract with us and, make I guess, an agreement. So it's really deciding what our needs are and where we should be focusing our energy and our resources. And when I mean resources, our human capital as well as our financial capital. You have only so many hours in the day to take meetings and make decisions, who you move forward with. During these times, I have to tell you, Justin, you see the very best in people, and you can also see the worst in people. Some groups that will come here to take advantage of our citizens, or take advantage of someone who's experiencing a very difficult time. And I'm not picking on any industry. I'm just saying, I feel as the leader of our community and our county, a big part of my job is not just helping to lead this, going through this catastrophe, right? This disaster. A big part is protecting our community. We talked about my background when we last spoke at your gym. Having been a prosecutor, a judge, AGs, head of public safety, I've had a career of protecting our community, and I chose that career, and or maybe that career chose me. I'm not sure, but I can say that same drive to protect our community is even greater now because we need it. And I don't want anyone to take advantage of our Lahaina or our Kula residents. I want our Lahaina people to hold on to their land, not sell their land. We got to help them as quick as possible to rebuild and get back on their properties where they want to be. So I feel a very strong commitment to protecting and not letting people come here and take advantage of our people, and stay committed to staying in the fight till we've completed the mission, and get people what they need. We're new at this. I'm not making any excuses. We're going to make mistakes, but but not on purpose. And we're going to learn and get better. But I think what I've seen, sorry if I'm just rambling,
No,
but
no, no.
what I've seen is that when I was saying we've seen the best in people,
Yeah.
is how our community has come together. Strangers, one-time strangers now being friends, people donating, volunteering, taking stuff from their cupboards and their closets and their pantries and bringing it to the hubs and to the drop-off points. People flying here to volunteer. People from churches. Samaritan's Purse has been just unbelievably God sent to our folks out in Lahaina. But so many groups who don't ask for recognition, don't ask for reimbursement, don't ask for anything at their own expense, come here. I guess, they feel satisfied. They feel good. They're helping somebody they don't even know. But even within the state, all the different counties, all the mayors, all three of the mayors, just unbelievable support, sending personnel from their county, whether it's police, fire. The National Guard sent people from around the state here. So just within our own state, each county, just checking on us, checking on our mental health and our mental well-being, how we're doing. So the moral support, the financial support, the physical, tangible, employee support, helping spell our fire department and all those folks, our firefighters. Yeah, tremendous. And the counties also suffered our Ohana. 76 of our county employees lost their homes. So I mean, it's hit close to home. Yeah.
Wow, Mayor, I just want to, before we wrap up the last question, I just want to thank you, for everything you're doing. I can tell, like, you're very passionate, making, and I just want to thank you for also taking the time. I know you're busy, and just wrapping up, what is something you can say to somebody watching that's going through a hard time? I know you're speaking on mental health, and what's one thing you can maybe lead off with?
Yeah, we are trying our best to have services brought over. I know Department of Human Services, which is a state department, they're working in having a warm handoff from the caseworkers that are assigned to families, and I guess I'm talking about families in the hotels right now. Each of those families have a caseworker assigned to them by the Red Cross, and we're trying to transition that from the Red Cross worker to the Department of Human Services folks that can. Each family has unique and individual needs, and so wanting to make sure we connect with them to find out what are their needs, how can we best service them, whether they have young children in school, whether they need childcare, whether they need just someone to speak with, talk to about what they're experiencing. Of course, the housing piece. Everybody wants to know about, where do I go from my hotel? Do I go to another hotel room? Do I go to do I get a rental? What happens? That's all pieces that we are trying to work on. So I would just encourage people to seek guidance, whether it's going online, our marirecovers.org, the helpingmaui.org I mentioned also for finding out more about housing. I think what people want the most, Justin, is a sense of stability, security, right? Safe housing, especially through the holidays, which, and I'm appreciative of the Red Cross and all the hotels that extended the contracts. So we weren't removing people on November 30th. Now, there might have been a couple of one-offs, but for no mass, movement of people, trying not to, between November 15th through, February. So people can have that time. Now, the people that are being moved, hopefully are being moved to an upgrade, a better unit than they had, from hotel to a home. And I know there was a family we witnessed just yesterday, a family of 5 that were able to move to a home in Kihei. We were all at that location yesterday, and That was through the efforts of CNHA and Hawaii Community Foundation. You know what's great about this, I got to tell you. So Cheryl King, I'm going to say her name. Cheryl King is the owner of the property who made her short-term rental available to long-term. And she signed a 1-year contract, I understand, with this family who I won't reveal who they were, but a father, a mother, their daughter, and their daughter's 2 children. And so in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. But what CNHA set up for them was a Christmas tree with Christmas presents underneath, and then there was a card, Christmas card that was issued by the Hawaii Community Foundation. And when you opened it, there were about 10 or 12 gift cards in there. So this family could go out and, you know, do some shopping and have this stable. I mean, that's really the story. That is the story. I know it was, you know, yesterday was the 21st, so 4 days before Christmas, but this is one of those good moves where you're moving into a place that you can know for the next 12 months, your family, and there's a yard, there's a garage, there's a washer and dryer, there's, you know, kitchen. I know the family I was told, was quite emotional the day before when they were shown the place and signed the agreement. And the good works of CNHA, Red Cross, and the folks from Hawaii Community Foundation, you know, helping get that family in, that's what we're trying to do. Hope we can get the rest of them.
Man, Mayor,
that's the goal.
Thank you so much.
Justin, anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you. See you on the next episode.